Welcome to week 3. I hope you enjoyed last week, and if you did, please make sure you've given it a thumbs up and that you've subscribed below. This week's shaping up to be pretty similar to previous weeks, other than the fact that we are starting on a Tuesday with the exact same lower body session as last week. So I'll just film my top sets of squats for you today, as you should already know what the rest of this session looks like, having watched last week's video. Few of you have queried exactly how my volume is being split up by the week, and you're wondering why my volume in some of the disciplines might seem a bit lower than you'd expect. So in reality, I'm training for 3 very different goals all at once, which means I can't give 100% to each of those goals simultaneously, otherwise I would be burnt out within weeks. So the old bodybuilding phrase of stimulate, don't annihilate is as relevant to me here as it is to everyone else, in that I need to stimulate each component of my Movember challenges as much as I can without overstepping my maximum recoverable volume, so that I can keep pushing forward slowly but surely, remaining injury free and being able to recover for the next session so I can give it my all and gain the adaptations that I'm looking for session by session. I hope that gives a little bit more context as to why my training weeks look the way they do. If you have any more questions, please just ask away. I'd love to answer them. And without waffling anymore, I will get into my squats.
So as I've already mentioned, this session was identical to last week, but with the instruction of doing it better. Very exciting viewing, I know. So start things off with 3 top sets at 170 kilos, 1 set of 4, 1 set of 3 and 1 set of 2. And these are feeling good, to be honest. I was carrying a bit more fatigue in my hips than we expected following on from the triathlon on Sunday. So it took a little bit more warming up and just feeling my way through the motion and the movement, but got there in the end. So these sets all moved at about 8.5 RPE, which is good to know. And I'm just getting a lot more confident with my position, my bar path, and just dropping into the bottom of the squat. So moving forwards, I'm looking forward to building on these and getting back up towards the sort of higher numbers that I was before I got injured in December. And I know that top end strength for me carries over quite nicely into the ability to slog through endurance tasks. So the more strength we can build now, the better I will fare in November. Following on from these 3 sets, I had 2 AMRAPs at 150 kilos, and annoyingly I managed the exact same rep scheme as last week, which was a set of 10 and a set of 8, but they felt pretty comfortable, other than the fact that this is where I really felt the fatigue in my hips and had to play around with my foot positioning and things. So all in all, a good session squat wise. Following on from this, I had 3 sets of RDLs max reps at 110 kilos, 100 jumping lunges, 8 by 200 meter sprints, 10 by 50 meter sprints, and then a 2-mile run to finish. So using that running to build on the fatigue built up in my legs so that I'm more efficient when it comes to not being fatigued. Simple as that.
Another Wednesday evening, another hour-long run, this time at 7:30 minutes per mile pace, which is actually 30 seconds slower than last week. That's simply because my heart rate crept up a little bit too high and I was blowing last time. So we want to avoid that because that will inhibit my recovery, will build up a bit too much fatigue, and it's just pushing me out of the heart rate zone that I want to be in for the adaptations that I want to make. So change of pace this week, which will be nice, especially as I've been suffering from a severe case of man flu. Felt really headachy and bunged up for the past couple of days. Not been sleeping properly, so touch wood, things feel better tomorrow and I don't need to go into each training session feeling so miserable and unenthused. But the show must go on and I'm not too ill that I can't train. So I will see you in an hour's time.
1 hour later.
That was hard work. So combination of not feeling all that well and the fatigue in my legs from yesterday made that quite a difficult run. So felt the work that I did yesterday this session more than I have any other week. Legs just felt heavy, sluggish, hips felt really tight, so far from ideal conditions going into that, but got the job done. 7:28 minute per mile pace, average heart rate 167, which is much better than last week's 174. So moving in the right direction. Glad that's over. Very happy that I can now eat, rehydrate and go to bed. So fingers crossed I feel better the rest of the week, and I will see you on Friday for what I assume will be some lunges. So, good news and bad news.
The good news is that I already have a fantastic excuse if this session goes horribly, as I am still ill. The bad news is that I am still ill, and that this session just so happens to be 3 kilometres of lunges, which, yes, not a surprise there, but it's still not nice to see it down on paper. The one upside is I'm doing it at Lift in Edinburgh, which is my favourite gym in the UK. However, this week has been really quite challenging mentally, just because I've not felt 100% physically. My sleep's been terrible, I've been really bunged up, as you can probably hear, and I've had headaches that are so bad throughout the day it's been hard to focus. Driven 300 miles today as well, which means I'll be quite tight and need to warm up for a while, but I am looking forward to getting this done. Hopefully by the end of the weekend I'll be back to normal and I can get through what has been quite a challenging training week, but will set me up nicely for the training weeks to come. Not much really to add here, other than the fact that this week I stuck with my protocol of 20 lunges on, 20 seconds off, but after feeling pretty good for the first 30 minutes or so, I thought I'd give 20 lunges on, 15 seconds off a go, which felt excellent. So I'll be sticking with that in the weeks to come. So another good session out the way and moving on to Saturday.
Right, back in Scotland in Crianlarich to go up a couple of peaks. Don't know how to pronounce them. Again, shooting for 2 or 3 depending on timing. Starting up that way and then loop my way back around there, I think. So same brief as previous weeks, which is 3 to 4 hours, heart rate around 140, just to build up on the fatigue in my legs from yesterday and finish off another training week. Good start. Go down. Right, so I'm going to level with you and admit that that was a complete disaster from start to finish. So, first things first, down under a little underpass, about 12 minutes in, and there's a bridge that I need to cross, closed. So spend about 15-20 minutes faffing around trying to find a way across this river so I can get onto the path. Eventually manage it, soaking myself up to my knees to do it. Then end up going 2 kilometres past the turn-off that I need to go up the path towards the top of the peak that I was going for. Once I come back and backtrack and start going towards the peak, I realise that it's been raining so much that it's basically like a mudslide the whole way up. So my shoes were struggling a little bit as they're just trail shoes rather than actual specific hiking boots. Get to the top and the visibility is so bad I can't even see the peaks. So win some, lose some, and I lost a few today. So cracked on to the second peak that I went for, thinking that it would have cleared up by then. Same story there. So came all the way back round, and as I was coming down, everything cleared up. So God is mocking me there. And the other thing is, the way down was basically like a slip and slide. So I really, genuinely apologise, as I really wish you'd seen how many times I'd hit the deck on the way down. So all in all, I got just about what I needed to do done. I was programmed for 4 hours, was just over 3, but I spent so much time faffing around that the miles I've made up around the mountain will justify that. And bearing in mind I felt ill all week, I'm happy with how that's gone. So as much of a disaster as it was, a bit of a learning curve, I can laugh about it now, and I'm quite glad that this week is over. I hope you've enjoyed this week's video, and if you did, please make sure that you've given it a thumbs up and have subscribed below. I apologise that there's not been much active content this week and it's mostly been me talking, but that's largely down to the fact that I haven't felt 100%, so haven't had the energy to film absolutely everything, and there's a lot of crossover between this week and previous weeks, as well as the fact that I couldn't really film much today because the weather was so bad, but that's more my fault for not getting a weatherproof camera. Once again, thanks very much for watching. If you do have any feedback, please do let me know. The donation link is down below, and if there's any other way in which you wish to support, feel you can help, please do let me know. Thanks again for watching, and see you next week.